This week's episode is sponsored by Helio Gas Detection.
Hey everybody, this is Richie from the Metal Side Podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Cory and Jason from Grave Sermon onto the show, lads. Delighted to have you on. Great stuff.
Thanks, Richie. Thanks for having us.
You haven't aged a bit. You haven't aged a bit since you were on the show.
Well, it's been a year or two, hasn't it?
It's been a minute, all right. When did we say you were on? Time? February 2022 for
22
for Wolves in the Throne Room, wasn't it?
No, Legion of Wolves.
Legions of Wolves. All right, Legion of Wolves. I knew Wolves were in the fucking title.
Some fucking wolves.
Yeah, and any news of that band? This isn't about them, by the way, but any update on that?
This is it's on kind of hiatus at the moment.
Fair
Eric
enough.
is doing other activities, as it were, so we're just waiting for him to come out of hibernation, and then we're going to be back in black.
Good to hear. That's good to hear. And
Thanks,
for officially then, the last Grave Sermon one was 2021. It was Dave and Jay, wasn't it?
Yeah, wow, that's right. Yeah, Dave is our vocalist.
Yeah. So, when
how the time passes, eh?
It's fucking mad, yeah. Because Whitewash Tomb came out in 2019, which is bizarre. Right. Man, that's mad. That was before the world turned to shit, lads. Really?
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
That messed everything up, didn't it?
It fucking did. There was a lot of bands went by the wayside as well. Interesting 2 years. Just fucking, I just didn't like the whole isolation shit, man. You know, being, you know me, I'm a social butterfly at the best of times. You know, so
very unnatural thing, isn't it?
It's weird though. It's almost like sometimes you're thinking, and it's like it never happened. It's almost like the brain is trying to cope with the trauma.
I think it is. I think it's a great way to describe it, Cory. A trauma, actually. I don't like going back to it really from a personal side of things, you know.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
It feels like that. It feels like it was a dream or something. It didn't happen, you know.
Yeah.
Some fucking dream.
Dream,
you know.
So, like in the meantime, when you got back, I suppose maybe rehearsing and shit like that. Because, like, we're here to celebrate the announcement of Liturgical Perversions on the 1st of September. I actually did a good job in that. Fucking hell.
Yeah, you did. I had to learn the name of that. Because the way Dave works is, like, you know, stuff mightn't come to him straight away. So we had everything recorded before the title was decided on. And it's not really been thrown around the band room. So you're kind of going, geez, how do you pronounce that? I better learn this for the podcast. You know?
Yeah. So you made me go first. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah. Liturgical Perversions. Yeah.
Yeah. So I presume then there's no song called that. It's just the album title, is that?
That's the album title. Yeah.
Okay. And is there a theme running through the album that you could kind of give us a heads up on? Is it kind of more driven by the lyrics, or is it driven by the artwork, or, you know, can you?
It's driven by the lyrics, as far as I know. They're Dave's lyrics. Dave takes care of all of that. I suppose, like, I haven't really spoken to him in depth about it, but I suppose it's slightly kind of anti-religious, or, you know, what has happened, bad things that have happened due to religion, or you know, like on the first one he had a lot of similar themes.
He did. That's right. Yeah.
EP.
Yeah.
Trying to think of one now. Who's sort of in here? And there was White Sepulchre, which was about an atrocity that happened.
That's right. White Sepulchre. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Christian church and all that. So I suppose it's kind of thrown a bit of light on the darker side of organized religion, I suppose. I hope I didn't miss with that.
What do you think, Cory? Would you agree with that? Or do you want to throw Jay under the bus?
He lives around the corner, so he'll be banging on my door later on. Yeah, it's as kind of Jake was saying, it's kind of anti-religious, based a lot in historical evidence about some naughty people, as it were, you know.
There's plenty of them
doing
about,
naughty things, doing some very naughty things.
Yeah.
And the lyrics that we've taken, I think the title is from one of the songs on the.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you. And with a with a title like that, you're just really trying to imagine the fucking cover of it, like.
Oh, it's a fucking banana tongue, pal. You know, it's a tongue twister.
Yeah, and you got Gavin Doyle involved in the artwork.
Yeah, Gavin did a great.
Oh, okay.
Gavin is our go-to for all things artistic.
Yeah.
We've worked with him from the start, I think.
I like the aesthetic of it, though. If you look at all our releases, the one that you have on the shirt there you are, Richie. There you are. Very good, very good, very good, very good. If you, man, you actually style that better than I could. So we should just get you to model stuff for us in future.
Goes with the fake tan.
Yeah, macho man.
You're hired, Richie.
Gladly do it for you.
Yeah. What's the commission, right? You know, that's the so that kind of imagery that we have, I think, is, again, it's on the new EP. Actually, it's not an album, it's an EP. And what we're doing is we're trying to keep a theme with the lyrics and the aesthetic of the image and stuff like that.
I think
it looks really good. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think it looks really good, and I like that. I've always liked that kind of classical, looking art.
Yeah, you're on about the likes of Battery and Celtic Frost, and you know, that kind of imagery.
Yeah, I like that aesthetic. Yeah, for sure.
It gives the band an identity, I suppose. Like, you know, if it's not in keeping with what you've done before, to some degree, it's kind of like, well, who are you? Like, what are you all about? So, I suppose it is the identity of the band.
I think, you know.
What's that, Cory? Sorry.
You need some kind of uniformity in the aesthetic, I think.
And I think so too. Bands. Yeah.
You know, like Immolation, that kind of stuff, Incantation. You know, if you see an Immolation album cover, you know it's Immolation. I'm not trying to be silly, but you know what I mean? Like, the aesthetic is striking. So I've always liked that.
Yeah. And it's nice as well that you're not using AI, it's Gavin. So a great call there.
Yeah, and it's nice to support your local artists as well, you know?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. This show is always fucking campaigning for that, man, you know?
Absolutely.
And given that he's very good, given that he's very good and efficient and easy to work with as well, you know?
Yeah, yes. So, like, what do you think about it in general, you know, with this release coming? Only it's around the corner as such in relation, because like we're in the middle of August now. What do you think in relation to have you been following Irish releases? I know obviously, Jay, you're a big fan of Abaddon Incarnate, and so is Cory. We'll have to give him a shout out now, man. I'm not sure, are they fucking even a band anymore with the two lads leaving, you know?
I think they are, but it'd be be a huge shame if they weren't. Like, you know, Steve leaving was a big blow, and it was
a shock.
Both of us haven't been in the band. It kind of hits you a bit more. You're like, wait a minute, that's not how it's supposed to be, you know, like a founding member. But you just respect his decision to move on and whatever. Like,
yeah. I mean, I was privileged to be in the crowd in Cork when they played Urban Assault. Was it last year or this year? Holy fuck. But it was absolutely fantastic, man. Some performance, you know. But like, regardless of Abaddon, have you been following like the likes of like Crimson Butchery released a brilliant, I'm going to say album. So that's John Roach of Gamma Bomb and Red Corcoran.
Red is brilliant. What's his death metal project that he does?
Necrotized.
Yeah.
That's some fucking...
Oh, man, he is some voice, isn't he?
Actually, hang on a second. That EP or album is called Eternal Perversions. Eternal Perversion.
I think we're all perversion.
We didn't rip them off.
You're all perversion. And Imperial Demonic as well, and Eternal Hellcracks. They're all fucking... Like, so there is a scene there that you're releasing this into that people are still enjoying, you know, which is great, really, isn't it, lads?
Definitely,
Yeah.
I'm always in touch with Rory from Eternal Hellcrack. Go on, Frankie, good boy. Every release that they have, it just seems to get a bit better and a bit more polished and a bit more mature, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like I played with Rory in Primal Dawn, and even back then, which is at least 20 fucking years ago. Oh, it's about 20 years ago. Just a brilliant songwriter. So everything he does is, if he's going to release it, it's at a really high standard. The musicianship, the songwriting, and the sound production, you know.
Yes.
Unfortunately, like, you can have the best songs in the world, and then in today's modern world, if you don't have a decent sound production, people don't pay attention to it, like, you know, which is a shame, but you need to have the thing sounding good. And Rory and Dermot and co always have a great sound, like, and they know he really knows what he's doing, you know.
I find that interesting, that point that you're saying, Jay. I mean, because sometimes people will wash off a shit sound because they're listening to Spotify, for example, you know, where I find the sound on Spotify isn't fucking great a lot of the time.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've used Spotify a lot, but I've heard that from people recently that
you're not getting the full fucking.
You're not getting the full boom of it. Like, to be honest, I must start using some other platforms just to compare, like, you know.
Yeah, well, like, you have your Bandcamp, man, and sure, if it's fucking it's good in Bandcamp, you're fucking sorted, like, as such.
And you do hear different things with different sound productions, like, you know.
100%, and that's getting back to your point, like, how important it is, and, you know, like, God be with the days when you remember, you know, death metal back in the 80s, you know, releasing fucking albums and the sound was shit, and then you're going, is that fucking deliberate or what? Like, you know?
Yeah, I know. I've often wondered about that, you know, I often wondered, you know, I'm going to probably I'm going to, you know, be a bit blasphemous here, you know.
What?
But I've often wondered if you can go to, you know, if Creator, with today, like, if Millie was like looking back to 1985, with Endless Pain, you know, and just
Flag of Hate and stuff.
Record that, like, would you know, with the sound they got, was that purely because that's all they could afford? Well, you could argue. I mean, you know, yes, it was. But I don't think it was deprived, you know.
Yes.
But today, if they had a chance, would they go back and re-record it, and then would it completely change everything? You know, it's a weird thing, because, you know, I mean, bands these days want to get the best sound possible, like you were just saying, and that's fair enough. But at the same time, when it's too polished, it can sound absolutely sterile, you know.
Yes, you lose the fucking It's just getting the fine details right. I think, you know, and a good producer will get that out of a band, you know.
Yeah. Without kind of sterilizing it too much.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
You know who spoke about that recently, guys, actually, was Glenn Benton.
Okay.
He said the last couple of albums that they released sounded a little bit too sterile and a bit too flat and EQ'd, so they made sure to get like, it's your opinion if they achieved it or not, but they wanted a more roomy kind of natural drum production, and then they used I'm not up on it, but cabinets, like amps for the guitars, to get a more natural organic tone.
Okay.
So they made a big effort. I think they went to a different studio. They made a big effort to kind of take things back to a more organic sound a little bit. Like, the new Dayside is really, really good, I thought. It's one of the best.
Actually, I haven't listened to it, man. It's
there, very,
but
very good. Like,
yeah, that's good to hear. But, like, even as I said, now we're working with sound. So you went to Leader Sound Productions in Cavan. I heard of them before. That there is one of the lads in Dirtbird involved with them, or did they produce Dirtbird? That
is the guy. John Leader is his name, and he recorded and edited everything with the drums. He plays bass in Dirtbird, or however you pronounce it. Do you want to see that guy play bass? Holy Jesus. Nice. Unbelievable.
Jay, is he a Dirtbird?
No, he's not a Dirtbird.
Controversial. Edit that bit out.
No.
He's one of the Dirtbird.
He's
an absolute gentleman. He's a gentleman.
But why did you go to him, we'll say, rather than work with Michael Richards?
I find, well, number one,
Controversial opinion coming here by the way he
but
paused.
I
Yeah,
don't,
but go on.
but
Yeah,
like
go
everyone
for
makes
it.
a decision for a reason. Like
Yeah.
I went to John through Rory from Eternal Hellcraft.
Oh.
So I had that reference to be able to say, well, you know, like he played black metal, we're kind of more fucking, I don't know, blackened death metal. We want more death metal. Oh, he'll be able to do all that, blah blah blah. He's up on all that. Okay, right, yeah, da da da. And I met with John beforehand, and the reason I go to certain people to record drums is I find that unless you're going to a kind of a world-renowned studio, to a world-renowned engineer, which I might never do in my whole life, guitar players don't really seem to put a whole lot of effort into recording drums. They just don't have the interest. They don't have the knowledge. They don't really care. They go, there's drums, there's the mics, you set it up, and I'll record it.
So you're saying specifically producers and engineers that have a guitar background.
I'd say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've gone to guitar players before, and I've never been happy with the drum production. Probably the first time I went to an actual drummer to record my drums was with Legion of Wolves. We went over to Greece. I think George Filippo, I think is his surname. He's the drummer in Mortal Torment, and we got a really, really good sound production for the drums. So John Leader is also a drummer. And it's small things, making sure, like, we spent forever placing the mics, the room mics, switching them out, changing room mics, tweaking the tuning of the drums. All of that stuff has to be brought into consideration. Whereas sometimes when you walk into a guy who was generally a guitar player and he's recording your drums, it's like, well, you're the drummer, you set them up.
Okay.
There's no input.
It can be a different dynamic, I guess.
Yeah, and just naturally, I
feel that
they don't. Yeah, I've never gotten a good result. So I wanted to choose somebody that I know would get me the result I wanted. So that's why I kind of seek out different engineers for different recordings that I do,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, he did the sound, he did the drums for Eternal Hellcraft then, yeah?
He did everything. Rory does everything with John Leader at Leader Studios. So he'd go in there from week to week and do guitars, drums, vocals, the whole lot, They do everything with John Leader, and listen to the results, like
it's unbelievable. That album they released last year. It was one of my favorite albums. Like, fucking amazing.
Yeah, do you know that?
Drowning Ash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is it Drowning Ash?
I have it over there on the CD, but it's so appropriate to have that distant sounding. Like, the first time I ever heard a production like that was probably listening to Immortal or Emperor, where you have this kind of distant sound production. It sounds like you're listening to it.
I know exactly what you're on about.
But you can hear absolutely everything.
Yes.
And I don't know what a producer or an engineer has to do to achieve that sound. I don't know. Like, I'm not up on that sort of thing, but they got the result there with that,
They did. You're aware of that album as well, Cory, yeah?
Rory's album, yeah, I loved it. And I told him we played some shows last year, so I'm happy to tell him. But I think those last few Eternal Hellcraft albums are amazing.
Yeah,
sometimes you can't believe it's out of Ireland, and that's not at all to be sounding stupid.
No,
but I was really, really, really impressed with them.
Yeah,
and fair play, because Rory's a powerhouse. Like, he's always working away, and he's always in the studio, always creating, him and Dermot. Yeah. So fair play, And like, they deserve everything they get.
Absolutely. I don't think they get enough credit, being truthful. I've tried championing them on the show a rake of times, but I think their audience for some reason is in Europe more so than Ireland.
Oh, it is, yeah. It's a very different. It's like, that's the thing you find with the likes of Eternal Hellcraft, or even us possibly, but it's a very different. I don't know how I'd phrase it, listening community, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To what we do. There's a lot of, obviously, younger bands coming through that are core, so deathcore and metalcore, and I suppose you can put an old school death metal band on the stage beside a metal because it's all extreme metal, but yeah, you're kind of thinking, where will we get in this country as regards getting listens and stuff like that? So the likes of Rory and stuff, they tend to go outside of Ireland for their listenership. Is that the word, listenership?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Like, like even now at this stage, lads, and I'll throw it to you first, Cory. Like what is your motivation for playing death metal? Is it like kind of, for the sake of it being fun, or are you still there trying to fucking challenge people's perceptions on it, or just from your own opinion, like?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I was talking to George from Morphosis at the Abaddon gig actually about this. We were talking about kind of different motivations, and I love death metal. I love playing the music that I play. I don't want to play anything else.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I'm not trying to be silly, but like I can play black metal or whatever, but my love has always been a blast beat.
Yeah.
Born to the blast, I just love the fury. I love it, and nothing else comes close to it. So a good blast beat, and I know, I don't want. Yeah, like I don't want to try and be I'm not trying to be silly now again, but I'm not worried anymore about perception. When I was younger, I was, reception and we get this thing. Now I don't really care anymore. So I'm supposed to answer your question in a roundabout way. Yeah. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah. It still is fun, and it never stopped being fun. I just love extreme music, and I like, and I mean, if you hear a good blast beat, I mean, the first time I heard Repulsion, Radiation Sickness, fucking hell, like that's I've never. I mean, I love it. Something happened, born to the blast.
Yeah, so and you go back and revisit that music, Cory, more so than listening to new music more so.
That's it. And that's the thing, is it can be a curse as well, because the ubiquitous nature now, you're talking about Spotify and Bandcamp, so there's so much music out there. Yeah. And you kind of get lost about who you're going to listen to, and it's great sometimes you have recommendations, from Spotify and everything else. But I constantly find, if you go back on my Spotify playlist, it's always Bolt Thrower, Autopsy, Napalm, Repulsion. That's it. I don't want anything else,
Yeah. So
would have been more
well answered, man. I agree. I'll throw that, Jason, to you as well. But like, maybe from a drumming point of view, are you looking for the progression as a drummer?
Always.
I gather that with you. He's one of them, Cory, isn't he? You could suss it.
That's why I've got the beard, you see. I'm just happy out there. This guy over here, look at him, look at his baby face. Look.
That's why you got the grey hair.
I'm regressing,
Will you just play the fucking beat already? No, like, it's a funny thing. I spoke to you, Richie, before we came on. I said I had a bit of a slight arm injury going on and muscles were a bit tight. That happened to me because I was doing a lot of drum practice. I always need something new. So nothing was coming to me, and I start practicing the same stuff. And if I'm practicing the same stuff and I'm kind of going, oh, there's not new here, I need to learn something new, but I'm still in the practice room. What ends up happening is, to satisfy my own urges or whatever you say, I end up hitting harder.
Okay.
So I'm playing my own stuff, but I'm trying to become more powerful, and I pushed it too hard and got a bit of a slight fucking elbow thing going on. But yeah, like, I suppose I'm maturing a little bit in that if a song needs me to be quiet, then I can be quiet as well. Do you know that sort of way?
I do.
Which I was always one for, like, if you don't want to progress, what the hell are you even doing with the fucking instrument? Like, I remember, like, that was the thing I liked about Chuck Schuldiner. Even though we love the old Death albums and the old Massacre albums, I kind of don't blame Chuck for moving on from it, because the rest of the band didn't want to develop their musicianship, and he did.
Yeah.
And although I love all the Death stuff. I love Sound of Perseverance. I love Leprosy. But yeah, I'm always like, you have to try and improve, like, so I'm always striving,
Yeah, I mean, like we should mention the rest of the lads, Dave, Gavin and Mark in the band,
Yeah.
especially Gavin and Mark as joint guitarists. Working with them lads from a live setting alone. I mean, I saw it at the Siege where unfortunately you were missing, Cory, but you know, you played as a 4-piece and fuck me, it was intense still.
Yeah.
So maybe just talk about the two lads, Gavin and Mark, as musicians, first of all, and their contribution maybe to the EP.
Do you want to go, Cory, or will I jump in?
Yeah, all right. Well, most of the music, we're kind of lucky in Grave Sermon. And what I mean by that is Gavin and Jay pretty much look after the bones of the music.
Okay.
So Gavin will have a lot of, like, they'll provide the initial bones, right? And then Mark and myself are able to come in and dance, as it were, kind of provide a bit of meat on it.
Yeah.
And what I like about that is, and then Dave, of course, now Dave offers his vocals are a completely different kind of instrument. If you know what I mean, you could definitely hear that on the recording. But as just in a music sense with guitars, right? So we're lucky in the sense that because Gavin and Jay write the music, there's a uniformity kind of going through that.
Okay.
Because, you know, whereas and we add our little bits, but you know what I mean. So like it's not like we're because you know, I can have a certain style of a song, Gavin has a certain style of a song, and Mark or whatever. It doesn't work sometimes in a band because you'll have it all over the place.
Okay.
One guy to write most of the music and we dance on it. And on the EP itself, I mean, Mark was amazing on the EP. Gavin's great anyway. Gavin's got a great kind of fluid way of playing. Okay. It's almost like a jazzy kind of way. It's very loose.
Yes. Mark is
very on the ball like this, you know. And so Mark was able to provide a lot of the more, you know, attack where Gavin was more swing. Again, I
understand. That's actually a great way of describing it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you like that, you know. And on Mark's vocals, of course, Mark does backing vocals, and holy shit.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
It's like the fucking Exorcist, man.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, so hold on to that thought, Jay. So you've given me 2 songs. Thanks a million. I fucking love them. And I've picked out a minute and a half section of each, just to emphasize the parts that I like, and you know, and the hooks that are there as well. So this track is This Mortal Disease. Okay. Yeah, that ending in the fucking class, man, just the fade out. Like you wouldn't, I didn't expect that, being truth, when I heard it. I was just going, whoa, that's so fucking cool. People are going to lose their shit over this, lads. I really mean it. It's fucking brilliant. What a song that is. So
kind of hit in the back of the head. It's one for the cardiacs.
Oh yeah, Jesus, and the second one as well. Fucking hell. Is that the one? Which one of it? The Mortal Disease. Is that the one you have an actual drum solo in, or is it the other one, Jay?
Oh, there's a blast. There's a blast part.
Yeah. Might be the
The last part.
it's the sound of sword, and it's just like
It's actually bass and drums.
yeah.
Oh, that's
What was
just
it?
Yeah.
Class.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it is
yeah.
that song. Yeah. It's
That was
a
a
bomb
really
blast.
cool part of the song as well.
Yeah, depending on the mix or what you're listening on, it's actually bass and drums together.
Mm.
So like modern people like to listen to bass and drums. Well, how about that? You know what I mean? Like,
Go. Do you know, like Cory will back me up here, man. Jay, your performance on this, the two songs that I was given anyway, is fucking off the chart, man. I mean,
thank you.
you put in serious fucking work. I know
I
you
do,
have for
actually.
this. For this, it's fucking, it's all over it, man. It really is like.
So it's like sprinting a marathon.
And man, you were able to carry it off live as well, which to your
Yeah.
credit, man. Fuck.
I love it.
Yeah. So I mean, as you said, like, okay, so you were up in Cavan with that. Like trying to formulate patterns within that music, Jay. Do you work that out in rehearsals, or is it just send tracks to you and you figure shit out like that?
It's a little bit of both. It'd be send
Okay.
tracks. Gavin would send on tracks. It might be just him with his phone playing a riff, or it might be an MP3 track or whatever. I listen to it. I'll go, yeah, that'll go with that. Then we can bring that back to that, and then that'll come in. And I'm writing the drum patterns as I'm listening. But like, there's even a song recently there that's unfinished where myself and Gav were jamming it, and we had let's say just like a fast beat and a slow beat, and then all of a sudden we said, what'd be cool with those two parts? Keep the riffs, riff one, riff two, riff one, riff two. But I switched the drum beats completely, so what was the fast riff now had a slower drum beat on it.
Okay.
Like a more like halftime drum beat. So things can change in the rehearsal room as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you echo that, Cory? Rehearsal rooms is where a lot of things come to fruition, as they should, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you jam the tracks, and it's good.
Yeah.
But for me, it's important that you always keep the fury. You got to be furious. If you call yourself or label yourself death metal, it's got to be death metal. It's got to be that you can't. And maybe that's I'm putting myself in a very small parameter there of you know what I mean, that I'm not very good with experimentation, put it that way. I'm too old now to experiment too much. I just want fucking blast. That's all I want. I don't like when Jay slows down. I just want him to keep on going. So I'll need a fucking defibrillator after the show or something. You know what I mean? Like,
he's well able for it still at this stage,
yeah. Sure. Look, he never stopped.
It gets better with age.
What was how many songs are on the EP? Is it 4 or 5, lads?
4.
4. Okay. So out of the 4, was there a particular song that is taxing on ye live, for example?
Well, what you just heard, this Mortal Disease, is there's very, very let up in that, it's all blasting, and it's the typical thing when you started playing death metal drums, you realize that the fast beats are fast, and then the slower beats have fast feet underneath the backbeat. So it's all, there's some part of your body moving at full pace, and that one is quite relentless. There is little, what would you call it? A bit more dynamic, let's say, in some of the other tracks, which is good because you don't want to tire out the listener's ear. A little bit more variety with tempos and kind of feel as well,
Yeah. Like those two, like I'm going to play a Vial of Rat next. Those two are staples now on your set list, correct?
Yeah, there would be all the new ones are going to get played. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, class. So I'm nearly sure you're going to have the album launch before this comes out. So let's talk about the lads that you picked. Like, I mean, Jesus Christ, if I was picking bands to support G, Stranglewire would be one of my first picks. Fraught would definitely be my second pick.
Yeah.
I have seen Blood Soaked and I fucking love them live. I don't know, have you seen them yet?
I actually saw
just on
Bloodsoaked.
videos, yeah.
I saw Bloodsoaked back in '94.
Wow.
Fuck me.
Back when they used to play in Charlie's on Angel Street in Dublin, and upstairs used to have concerts like free gigs or cheap gigs every Saturday night. And this was it, right? Bloodsoaked were playing with Graveyard Dirt.
Oh yeah, Graveyard Dirt, very good.
Yeah. So that was 94, 95. And I think I was there with Steve Norton. We headed up. Steve Norton from Fifth Dominion. And I think Olin Parkinson from Abaddon was there as well. They're all hanging out and going
Cory,
up. Yeah.
Cory, long live your memory, man. I hope that never changes, dude. Fuck. That's mad. Graveyard Dirt.
Ever.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, that's right. And Squelch was the singer of, Carl Walsh was the singer of Bloodsoaked. Remember,
Right.
Carl Walsh ended up in Morphosis and everything else.
Yes.
So I saw him when he was with them. Yeah, that's because they were kids. Because they just lived up the road from me here in Newbridge. They were over in Carver.
I think we
So,
brought him up in the podcast fucking the last time we were talking. I'm nearly sure we did.
Yeah. And I'm chuffed to play with those guys. It's been too
course.
long. So
Yeah.
and
yeah,
I know them and we're good pals and everything else. And that's exactly, I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine in work the other day, that shows these days when I get to play some shows, Richie, or something, it's pretty much an excuse just to hang out with friends. And
Of
I
course.
just enjoy the crack of hanging out and playing and hearing some awesome music. I mean, Stranglewire are tip top at what they do. Absolutely.
I love actually, I just checked there. The good news is this podcast is out before the gig.
Brilliant.
day.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that's
That's a
great
good,
news.
Good
So
promotion for it.
so it's in Chennai, lads. So fucking get your asses down to it.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Come on down. Price is right.
Price is right. So like again, Fraught. I mean, what a band. I love Fraught. Really interesting, another different take, Jay, on what's out there at the moment, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I listened to your interview with them when they spoke about how they recorded their latest release. I'm not sure if it's full length, but when I heard the guys say that they were more or less playing it live and to record the drums at least. I don't know if they recorded the guitars, but I was like, so those drum tracks are one take, like that they were playing live and recording that. That is really, really high level of musicianship, like, they're excellent. And we've played with them before. Cool guys. Don't know them that well, but I did speak to the drummer. Seemed very, very nice. And when you're naming out
another Cavan man, as far as I can remember.
Was he Cavan? Yeah, I knew it was that direction, Loud or Cavan or something. The accent,
Yeah.
But like I'm kind of going, we should be opening this. Like, look at the bands that are on. I seen Bloodsoaked in 94 as well, 94, 95 at a school disco. The boys went up and played or whatever.
Me.
I know the boys all my life, Jazzer and Robbie and Alan.
So that's a nice fucking turn that you did for them, just to get them on the bill.
Yeah,
it's so 100%. Cool. Like, I mean, that'll get a few old heads off their fucking arses and hopefully down to Sinead to see it. Like,
yeah, like we should fill that place. Like,
yeah,
4, including ourselves, if you don't mind, 4 really, really capable, competent bands. You know what I mean? That have experience and I suppose I could go and say that they're all quite different as well. Stranglewire are leaning more towards brutal Cannibal Corpse-y style, if I could put it that way, and then Fraught have a bit of sludge in them.
They do. Yeah.
We're more vicious and kind of sharp, and then Bloodsoaked are kind of, what would you call it? A little bit mid-paced, old school,
Yeah. Class. Okay, so I'm going to play the next track, and Vial of Rat. Here we go.
They
lads. Jesus Christ, that's insane. So it's just going to be fucking hell. Like, how many songs make a set list? Like, I mean, you're just gonna lay waste to the crowd. Like, they're gonna be fucked after you. Like,
they're gonna be fucked. We'll need an ambulance for the crowd.
Cory, did you bring your favorite basses along to this, or did you fuck around and get some new sounds in while you were recording this?
I was lucky. Yeah, I was lucky. Mick allowed me. I used the Warwick. Bass.
Oh, the Warwick. Class.
Yeah. Fucking man,
nice.
I tell you, and I used the Warwick with the Aguilera sound through the MX mixer, and the bass sound it's beefy. You know what the fuck, man? The Warwick in general just gives you that beautiful tone. It's a heavy.
I know exactly what it is. And did you use Micah? I think Micah Richards has a Warwick, or have you got one as well?
I used Mike's one because I was going to use I got an Ibanez 5-string. I was going to use that one because it's quite heavy sounding. Because I have a Horner B Professional that's a bit more lighter, but I use the Ibanez for grave ceremony. So I brought it up, but then as soon as I saw the Warwick, and I was like, dude, can I try that? Because the sound out of it, is just
that's fucking class. That Warwick has made a few fucking appearances in Irish bands. I'm nearly sure Necrothesis had it as well.
Necrokinesis?
Necrokinesis. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. There's so many names, man. You can't keep all the names.
That definitely, that Warwick, I'm nearly sure made an appearance on that as well.
He has two. He's a 4-string and then a 5-string.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sound is
beast of a fucking bass, though.
Oh,
yeah.
It is. And
Mick gets beautiful guitar tone, you know, and he has that expertise that he can give you options, you know, which is essential, you know, because not every band wants to sound the same. So when you go in somewhere, he gives you those options, and he's well up with that, you know, obviously. That's what he does.
Looking to mix and master, which I think, again, a brilliant call. HK of Vamakara.
Yeah.
Is that your connections, Jay?
Yeah, I kind of looked them up. I shopped around online and came to this guy, French dude, Nico. I'm not sure. I only really spoke to him in text. Well, we did a lot of voice notes and all that, but he does a lot of work with Loud Blast.
Yes,
you know
that's Loud Blast. I know of. Yeah.
Yeah, and he produces for them, and he was proud to tell me that he's, you know, some of his lyrics have appeared on their albums and such. So looked him up, and he was like, oh, you know, he was really, really nice and very, very professional, but you kind of know he's like, hey, come over here, I've got what you need, you know, that sort of way, like, which is great because that's what you're paying for, like, you know. So he said,
absolutely.
What sort of sound are you looking for? Oh, yeah, I know that band, and I know this band. I know what you're on about. So you want X, Y, and Z? Yeah, we're kind of thinking that way. Okay, show me some of the tracks. I'll do you a good deal. And one thing he said, I was kind of like, we were kind of running out of budget, and he said to me, he said, okay, right, I'll do a deal with you, and don't worry, he said, I'll mix it like I do the big band, you know. I thought that was cool, like, you know, I was kind of like, we're going to get a good sound here. But he's absolutely excellent, efficient, got an amazing sound.
Yeah.
So delighted with him, and it's good to have that connection again, you know.
It is very much so. So let's talk about, you know, one of the star performers of the EP, Dave on vocals. His vocal delivery in this is fucking phenomenal.
He's incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love him anyway as a frontman live. I mean, you know, Dave, I know you're going to be listening and watching, man, but like, you're a humble dude. He's a humble guy, and you know, his delivery then on stage is fucking fantastic, man. And you know, always I think, and we can name, we all love death metal here, but you can always name certain frontmen, you know, that you gravitate towards, especially in that genre. And Dave is one of them in Ireland, man. He's fucking a phenomenal frontman.
Can I jump in, Cory, before you go? No, before I forget, me and Dave only spoke about this recently. Like, we're similar in that he does not know how to hold back. If we're rehearsing, he gives 100%.
Yeah.
If he's on stage, he gives 100%. He means every syllable. Like I've watched videos of it, and he means everything he's saying. He's pointing to somebody in the crowd and he's saying it. And one thing that strikes me about Dave as a vocalist, when you compare Dave to other really renowned, famous vocalists like Glenn Benton or I don't know, maybe Mamali from Pestilence or something. Like, you know, Benton has
I would say I would put him up there with Sakis as well. Rotten Christ.
Yeah.
Just
like
that presence.
There's the low, just from a vocal point of view, there's the low growl, and then Glenn Benton goes into the high scream. And Dave, he does that, but he does everything in between as well. So he's so dynamic, depending on how he feels and what he wants to say, what part of the song it is. He can choose what pitch to go to, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, I've done the high thing now. I'm going to come really low on this. And it's lower than the last time he sang low. Do you know what I'm saying? So he has that amazing dynamic. And he leaves it all on the stage, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Cory?
Yeah, what can I say? He's tip top. He's the best, man. And Richie, I just want to say, it's his birthday today as well.
Hey!
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, there we are.
And he didn't bother. He's celebrating. You're dead right, Dave. You're dead right.
That's what he said. Yeah, I won't be on that podcast. It's my birthday. So happy birthday, Dave.
Yeah, happy birthday.
But you're right in everything that you said as well. He's such a humble, for what he has and who he is, if you know what I mean. He's just a cool guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're very lucky to be in a band and actually have him as a friend. That's 100%. Like that's wonderful. Well, I love the fact that I love two things. First of all, on stage, he's a maniac, you know, and it does. And then when you hear him recording, it's like The Exorcist again, you know, because it does sound. He's got that range in his voice where he's screaming and then he's low and he's high and he's spoken word and everything else. But he's so professional in the studio as well of how he goes through the songs. He's meticulous in his breath. You know, and I think that kind of bears witness in the performance, you know.
Yes.
That when you hear that,
and you know, again, like you're on stage, you're not seeing it, but he's the type of front man that the crowd are pulling for because they know he's fucking genuine, you know.
And Richie, and also he's involving them.
Yeah, 100%.
Just with his stance, with his movements, with his eye contact, he's involving the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
And like you say, so humble in between songs. And you know he means it, like, you know?
Yeah. So, happy birthday, Dave, and glad we can give you the shout out on this.
And don't be drinking too much, will you not?
So what is the EP coming out format-wise? Did you debate long about it? Were you like everybody else going, oh, we need to have it on vinyl, or what? Where are you at in relation to physical and digital format?
Well, we'll do the usual with Spotify and YouTube.
Okay.
I'm not sure about Bandcamp. I suppose we will be on Bandcamp, but we are going to release it on CD.
Nice. Okay.
And the artwork and the layout.
It should be a physical copy then, obviously.
Yeah, but talking about my own band like this makes me feel like a dickhead, but
no, you're right.
It looks
amongst friends.
Amazing.
Yeah,
exactly. Friends. It looks. Do you know what? The artwork is so good that it'd be a shame to not release it. So it'll be CD.
Okay, that's grand. That's me down to a T straight away. If it was on vinyl, I'd be getting it. Are you going to work with FIA Productions again? Is that how we pronounce it? FIA.
Barry-Ann.
Yeah, the American crowd. Yeah.
Nice. That's good to hear. You've maintained that relationship. Good.
Barry-Ann is cool, man. Do you know Barry-Ann? Do you know her?
No, I don't, but I know of her.
Oh, she's sound. Barry-Ann is cool, man. She's 100% as well, you know. And she loves Irish metal. And
is she worth getting on the podcast, for example, Cory? Would you actually ask her for me?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, no worries.
Nice. Put in a word for me there. Tell her I'd love to have her on.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, she's cool. She's cool. I'm sure she'd get on with you, Richie. You know, so
Excellent.
I'll send her a message and I'll get
Do
back
please,
to you,
yeah.
Richie.
That'd be nice,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, cool.
So also, you know, like with a release coming up again, bands have to look at releasing content for YouTube. Okay. So, I mean, that always is a challenge, I reckon, for a band, because again, you're looking at budgets. Do we do an original piece? Do we do a fucking lyrical video? Where are you with that?
Good question. Have we even spoken about that? I know it sounds really dumb, but there's just been so much. And when you're on a WhatsApp group with the band, there's so much information going back and forth.
I think there's something with Ray K.
Yeah, I think what's Ray's surname? Jesus, I'm sorry, man. Keenan, is it?
Ray K.
Do you know Ray K?
No, I don't. No.
Ray K Media. He does a lot of photography and stuff at the gigs.
He did the videos. He did a video for Fraught, and he did a video for Abaddon. And
which
Ray.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
So I think there's something to discuss with Ray. So basically, yeah.
There is. Yeah. So
for that.
Yeah, so there could be, for example, live footage, Cory mixed in with other stuff, and something like that.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Do you get involved in any of that, or do you enjoy watching other death metal bands and how they kind of try and think outside the box for videos? Cory, is that your thing, or are you just again sit in the background and just leave it happen?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, I'm happy. I have a certain style that I like in music videos, and I have a certain style of that I like in bands in general.
Name drop, for example, there, so people would know.
What bands like that I kind of like? I mean,
in relation to video content, that sticks out for you, just the way bands approach videos for that genre of music that we're on about.
I've always liked the kind of immolation videos, to be honest with you. There was that, and then Morbid Angel, God of Emptiness. God, I'm going back a couple of years now.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Seriously, when you saw that video for God of Emptiness, it just blew. There was 2 videos years ago, right? I think that just blew everything away. One was Slayer, Seasons in the Abyss.
Yes.
Slayer in Egypt. The bit when he hits the symbol and the sand comes up in front of the pyramids, and then God of Emptiness. God of Emptiness, man, like. That was fucking hell.
Yeah. So incredible. I
like that kind of thing. And then Immolation, who I really like as well, bringing out those. Yeah, again, it's like an Immolation kind of a video, So I like that personally,
So if you had a big budget, you're kind of you personally chose that direction to go down, Cory.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I don't know how it would work or if it'd be cheesy, but yeah, I could easily spend money. Other people's money is no problem.
Cory, you're gonna like this one as well. If you have the money, you have to go to the desert, because remember, Metal
Stranglewire did it even.
Yeah, what's the Metal Church song? Fuck,
Badlands.
Badlands, Metal Church. Yeah,
there's a bass part in it, right? There's a bass part in it where the bassist is playing on his own, and he just turns away from the band and walks out into you just see him just walking out into the desert doing the bass part, like. And then when the band kick back in, they're just surrounded by barrels of fire and all this crack, and it's like that perfect heavy metal video imaginable.
It is. For those that don't know Metal Church, check out that. That's off Blessing in Disguise, is it, or is it?
Yeah, Blessing in Disguise. Blessing in Disguise.
Fake Healer and all those songs.
Holy shit!
But what an album!
Man.
What an album!
Poor old Mike Howe.
Yeah, poor old Mike Howe, man. Fucking hell! I had the privilege of seeing him 3 times with Mike Howe, so yeah.
Did you see him when they played in the Voodoo? Was it Voodoo Lounge?
Yeah, it was Voodoo. Yeah, met him, hugged him. Fucking the nicest guys. The nicest guys.
What a fucking band! They're one of my favorite heavy metal acts ever.
Yeah, I agree. Same.
I just love them.
So yes, there is plans anyway for a video release at some stage. That's great to hear, lads, because I know it's a hard thing to do, considering there's 5 of you in the band gathering you together, also to agree on something that would kind of, I suppose, be the representation of the EP. So yeah, you have my sympathies on that. Like, so So that's good to hear anyway. You're working on something in the background. The merch line should be coming through as well, probably. Yeah.
We're getting shirts.
Yeah, a bit of a reveal. We have an excellent logo that's going to appear on the artwork on the CD, and it
is cool, and it is.
That's kind of the bit. That's kind of the bit I was talking about earlier on. I said I hate to blow my own trumpet, but it looks amazing, and it'll be perfect. You could do patches with it. We're going to have to talk about what we're actually going to do as regards merch, but it's going to look fucking brilliant.
So who did the original logo, actually? It's interesting that you're changing it.
No, sorry, Richie. It's the same logo, but it's the Grave Sermon logo in a, how do you call it? In an artistic piece.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in a circle. It's in an artistic piece. It's kind of like a stamp or whatever, you know.
Okay.
It kind of looks like a stamp, you know, but it's a circular thing. What was I going to say? The original logo, Dave took care of that, and I do believe it was an American guy.
Okay.
That we went back and forth with, and so with Grave Sermon, nothing ever gets decided on until everybody agrees. So we were going back and forth with this, and I remember there was a bit of a difficulty with the artist, and I think he kind of just fucked off on us in the end. Like, I can't remember what it was. Oh, you need to pay me now. I've done enough work. Whatever went on with it, and then we actually, the one he gave us, we had to get Gavin Doyle to touch it up a little bit.
Okay.
So it's not Gavin's original design, but Gavin Doyle. Did I say it right? Yeah. But he finalized the design, you know. So
yeah. Cool. One other thing. In Frenzied Hate They Howled. Was that wrote around the same time as these EP tracks?
No, that was an original track. That was way earlier.
Interesting. Okay, so that was. Is there tracks like that still hanging around in the background there? Maybe 2 or 3. That was a fucking great release, lads. I love that.
Yeah, it's a very good song. There's 1 or 2 songs that we used to play live that we've dropped.
Okay, that's fair enough.
To be honest, me and Gavin are sitting on a couple of really, really excellent tracks. Okay.
So there's no hangover from, we'll say, COVID in relation to music that you were writing then, no?
No, not really, no.
Okay.
Everything has been used, mostly everything has been used and recorded and are still in the pipeline, you know?
Yeah. Because sometimes bands will write a whole album's worth of material and just half it in 2 and just release the EP now and release the next EP there.
Yeah, like Gavin, to be honest, there's videos from him on my phone of full songs, you know, riffs.
Yeah. So like Grave Sermon aren't going away anytime soon is what I'm trying to get to.
Great. I certainly hope not, because
the creative pipeline, Cory, is fucking...
There's some stuff there that would absolutely fucking blow you out of the water, like, you know.
Yeah.
If it was all tied down and done right and rehearsed and
so, like, even ready, you know? We'll say for what you've planned for the rest of the year, and I hope you're fucking coming to Cork at some stage, or maybe an appearance in the Siege. So for what your current set list is what you have, and you're not trialing new songs yet, as such, then.
No, we kind of concentrate on kind of getting the songs from the EP out as much as we can. Perfect, playing them obviously to support the release.
Yeah.
And then new songs, I mean, maybe in the new year, maybe, you know, but the blood bank is full.
Brilliant. That's great to hear. And if any offers for gigs come through in the next few months, you'll certainly consider them, be it even UK or Europe even.
100%.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but we play Cork first before London.
Oh, do please. I'll send you my shift calendar so we can work it out. Because I've 72 hours of holidays left and it's fucking August already, man.
Right. So Grave Sermon has a 6th member now. Richie isn't off that day, but we'll have to play.
Forget about it. I will figure something out. Lads, a pleasure as always having you on the show. Cory and Jason, thanks a million, man.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richie. Thanks, guys, for all the support.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And Liturgical Perversions is coming out on the 1st of September. Big shout out to Dave, Gavin, and Mark who couldn't join us tonight. And as always, please support your local scene and be there at the album launch on the 14th of September. It's in Chennai with the fucking one, like, what a support bill. Stranglewire, Fraught and Blood Soaked. You'd be fucking mad not to be there. Especially the Dublin posse, and maybe we can get a few hangers on from Cavan and Meath and the surrounding counties to get in there as well to watch you lads. And best of luck with the race and congratulations on it. Given the 2 songs that you give me, it's fucking epic. I know it is, and I'm just proud to have you on the show, and well done.
Thank you, Richie.
Thanks, Richie. Thanks a million for all your support, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Richie. Love coming on the show, and it's really important. It helps us promote the band as well. So thanks for all your hard work.
Okay, thank you, lads. And crucially, support your local metal scene.
100%.